Good morning, everybody. I'm Congressman Maxwell Frost. I have the proud honor of representing Central Florida in the United States Congress. And today I stand before you not just as a member of Congress, but as a young person, a Floridian, and someone who has seen firsthand what gun violence does to our communities. Many of you know I've been in this fight to end gun violence since I was 15 years old. And the entire reason I got involved in politics is because I didn't want to get shot in school. I continue this fight every day because no child, no family, no community should have to live in fear, whether they're going to school, the grocery store, their place of worship, or simply being at home in their room. We say this is the greatest country on earth, yet for so many of our children, what's top of mind is not their future, but it's the fear of being shot. It's the fear that's grounded in a tragic reality where we lose over 100 lives a day due to gun violence, and where, if God forbid, your child died tomorrow, the most likely reason would be because of a bullet. That's the United States of America in 2026. Right here in Central Florida, including where we're at in Pine Hills, we lost 3 beautiful souls to gun violence just over the holiday weeks. These teenagers deserved to grow, to dream, and to live. And I just want to take a moment of silence for the loss of not just their lives, but of the lives across the country that we lost during the holiday period. Thank you. May their memory be a blessing, and may we honor them not just with thoughts and prayers, but we honor them with action. Their loss is a painful reminder that gun violence doesn't take a holiday, it doesn't discriminate, it doesn't stay confined to just one neighborhood, but it ripples throughout an entire community. And every year, thousands more are robbed of that same chance to grow up because of a bullet. When we see that almost near daily headlines about the latest mass shootings in America, too often the focus is solely on the shooter. But gun violence is not inevitable. It is the result of both demand and supply, and we have a responsibility to address both. In fact, when it comes to gun sellers, just a handful of the worst actors are responsible for the sales of most of the guns used in shootings. Let me say that again. Most of the guns used in our shootings come from the same groups of people and companies and folks in the black market over and over and over again. And that's why today I am reintroducing a package of 3 common sense gun violence prevention bills. Together, these bills are about accountability, prevention, and stopping violence before it happens. First is the Merchant Codes Can Save Lives Act. This bill is very simple. It holds gun stores at the same basic industry standards that we hold virtually any other company to in our economy. Merchant category codes already exist for grocery stores, hotels, and restaurants. But until recently, gun and ammunition stores were unfairly exempt from this. This does not track individual purchases and does not take away anyone's freedoms, but what it does do is identify suspicious purchasing patterns that are often present before mass shootings and active political violence. And time again, attackers stockpile weapons and ammunition the days and the weeks leading up to the violence. A 4-digit code that can help flag those patterns can give both law enforcement and community members a chance to intervene and save lives. If we know that this tool can exist, we must implement it. And that's why I've introduced the Merchant Codes Can Save Lives Act. Second, the Destroy Zombie Guns Act. Right now, when a government agency or law enforcement send retired or seized or surrendered guns to be destroyed, most people assume that those weapons are fully destroyed and they're gone for good. But recent reporting shows that under current law, disposal companies that law enforcement and local governments pay to destroy guns have a loophole. They destroy one simple part of the gun, a regulated part of the gun, and then they resell the weapon on the secondary market as a kit and as a package. Those kits can easily be reassembled into a functioning firearm, often without a background check. That's how we end up with what we call zombie guns, weapons that were supposed to be destroyed but have come back and end up taking lives on our streets. This bill closes that dangerous loophole by requiring that when a gun is destroyed, it is destroyed, and it can no longer be on our streets, on our blocks, in our churches, in our communities, causing havoc in our communities. We cannot allow government systems to quietly fuel the illegal gun market. And third is the Prevent Illegal Gun Sales Act. Nearly 90% of guns used in crimes come from just 5% of dealers. This bill focuses on those worst actors. It establishes common sense standards for high-risk dealers, including modernized record-keeping, video and audio documentation of firearm sales, and secure storage for alarms. These are basic, reasonable steps that reasonable businesses already take. But believe it or not, so many gun stores across the entire country get broken into every single day. Their guns get taken and get sold on the black market, get sold in the secondary market on our streets and are put on the streets. These gun stores that are too cheap and too unwilling to put real resources into securing what they're selling to the public, I think is disgusting. And so this is part of the reason we've put this bill forward. If a dealer is repeatedly linked to guns that are used in crimes, we have a responsibility to step in before more lives get lost. Slowing the illegal flow of guns is one of the most effective ways that we can prevent gun violence in our communities. Taken together, all three of these bills form a proactive, preventative, focused approach to gun violence. And it's about accountability and making sure that when we say never again, we actually mean it. These aren't the end-all, be-all of ending gun violence. We know there's a lot that we need to do. Of course, on day 2 of his administration, President Trump got rid of the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, which was one of our first accomplishments in D.C., was getting that office under the Biden administration. When we talk about ending gun violence and ending crime, there's a lot of talk in the political world. But let's be clear. It is progressives in the United States Congress that are the crime fighters. And this isn't a talking point I'm telling everybody, but look at the facts. Over the last 3 years, gun violence has gone down more in our nation's history than it ever before. And what Donald Trump has done in his first days in office was reverse many of the things that we did. Money to community violence intervention. Gutting the ATF, where we're going after people in the black market and secondary market, flooding our communities with guns. Getting rid of crime gun intelligence, which helps us trace where a gun came from so we can ensure that it never happens again. All these things are things that Donald Trump got rid of. He ran on making our communities safer, but he's made our communities worse and more violent. Not to mention the reign of terror from federal agents and ICE that he's been deploying in our communities across the entire country, what he's done to immigrants, diversity, equity, inclusion, all these things. But at the end of the day, he's made our communities less safe by adding more guns into our streets. The numbers don't lie. But we know that even one life lost due to gun violence is too much. And that's why we're introducing these bills. But we have a lot more to do. We have to ban assault weapons. We have to ensure that we limit high-capacity magazines. There's a lot of bills in line. But these are important because these focus on the secondary gun market. These focus on a lot of the guns that maybe they're not used in a mass shooting, but they're used in the largest mass shooting that happens on a day-to-day basis in our black and brown communities across the country. And it's part of the reason that we're here in Pine Hills today. A lot of times, the only gun violence that gets the news coverage are the mass shootings in our schools, which are horrible. But get this, mass shootings account for 1% of gun violence. I don't say this to diminish mass shootings. I say this so you understand how big this problem is, how big this crisis is in our communities. This is a public health emergency. Another thing that Donald Trump reversed. Under the Biden administration, we declared gun violence a public health emergency, working not just with law enforcement, but with public health officials to do something about it. And on day 3 of his administration, Donald Trump revoked that declaration, which is more than just a statement, but it meant resources to our communities. So we have a lot of work to do, but I'll tell you, this isn't just a movement of politicians. It's a movement of advocates, organizers, survivors, families, and people who understand what this means, who understand what it means to lose a loved one due to senseless gun violence, because gun manufacturers rather make more money than ensure guns don't get in the wrong hands. So I'm grateful to be here alongside people who champion that. We have Moms Demand Action here. Yeah. And my mom is demanding action. That's my mom. We have Village of Love here. Village of Love. And we have Yaya's Dream Foundation here as well. But with that, I'm honored to pass it on to my good friend Angel with Yaya's Dream Foundation.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. I'm Angel Grantley. I'm Yaya's aunt. Tiana Major, as you know, was killed in her own home. February will be 3 years. We started the Yaya's Dream Foundation because of that. And right now we're here to advocate for the Yaya Alert. We're advocating this to help get the alert out when an imminent threat is within 3-mile radius of a school, daycare, private school, neighborhood center, that are housing kids or having kids there after school. We know we cannot stop everything, but we do know we could try to stop this domino effect, that when a crime is already being committed, that this alarm is ringing and that the schools and centers and daycares are getting this alert. Also, private schools are, getting this alert, and that way they can better protect the kids. If they're outside playing, they can bring them in and make sure that they're safe, lock the doors. We cannot prevent everything, but I do truly, in my heart, believe that if we sign off and we get this bill up there and we get this Yaya Alert, a lot more kids in Florida will be saved. So we just asking everybody to hit the bell, do whatever you can do, send letters to Tallahassee, rally with us, be with us for this Yaya Alert, and help get this word out. We have to save Florida's kids. This is, like he said, we just had some teens die over this holiday weekend. Every time we hear, our family hears that another child is being gunned down or shot, we are like in just disbelief. We are hurt. We want to reach out to all these families, but it's just so many families that are being hurt by this tragic crime of, being shot. Firearms, and it's teens that's having these firearms. So when Governor DeSantis made this legal that 18-year-olds can have firearms, my skin cringed, because you're telling me that kids that are not even 18, that haven't even graduated or just graduated can go in a store and purchase a gun. This is just getting out of hand. We have to do something. So if you don't do anything else, stand for gun violence, sign that bill. Yaya strong, Yaya dream. Thank y'all.
Next up, we'll have Commissioner Mike Scott.
Good morning, everyone. What you see behind us is a village. It's a community, it's neighbors. We're happy to have the Urban League, Elizabeth Graith, the CEO of the Central Florida Urban League. We're also joined by State Representative Rashawn Young and Stephanie Vanos and Angie Gallo, our school board members. I bring them up because we hosted this press conference at what is the largest Head Start in Orange County. And as we know, as Congressman has shared, gun violence is the #1 killer of our kids, but it shouldn't be. When you're sitting at home enjoying the holidays and you see things on social media or on the news about someone's family member being killed, it's overwhelming. And I remember, and I didn't know she was going to be here today, I'm sitting at home, I'm looking on social media, and the first thing I see is World War III over by the Oasis liquor store in Rio Grande. About an hour later, I get a call from a mother saying she can't get in the hospital and her son has been shot. I get to the hospital a little bit after midnight, and I didn't leave them till about 6 that morning. No one should have to bury their kids. What it takes is a congressman who steps up, but it also takes us to stand with, behind, in front of, and wherever the situation calls for, because this is a community problem. It can be solved if we work together. If you're sitting at home wondering what you can do to protect your kids, your neighbors, your community, ask questions. Yes. Be nosy. Yes. You are not just a mother, an auntie, or a grandmother to your kids, but you're the same to their friends, the neighbors' kids. We have to solve this problem not only with legislation, but with community. We arrested in Orange County 755 people. Out of those 755 people, they confiscated 1,662 guns just last year alone. I am tired of burying my friends and my neighbors' kids, and I know you all are too. And so as you think about what you can do in the future, share the message of stepping up for our community. Make sure that you're spending time with young people and standing in the gap for those families who have to bury their kids far too soon. Thank you.
And then next up, I'm going to bring up Laura Buck from Moms Demand Action.
Good morning. My name is Laura Buck, and I'm a volunteer with the Florida chapter of Moms Demand Action, the largest grassroots gun violence movement in the country. I'm a mom myself, and like so many of you, I am tired of living in a country where we have to wonder if our children are safe at school and if our neighborhoods, our streets are secure. Year after year, extremist lawmakers in our state legislature introduce bills and attempt to roll back our gun safety laws. Just yesterday at our Capitol, there was an attempt to erase the age limit safeguard enacted after the Parkland tragedy. But today, I feel a sense of hope. Standing here alongside Representative Maxwell Frost in partnership and solidarity shows that we are committed to enduring the gun violence crisis, not just in our state, but across our country. Thank you, Representative Frost, for your fierce leadership and dedication to building a future where our safety of our children, families, and communities always come first. We know that strong gun safety laws protect our families and our communities. The bills being introduced today will help do just that. Whether it's helping law enforcement identify gun trafficking patterns, closing dangerous loopholes that allow guns used in violent crimes to be resold instead of destroyed, or ensuring that high-risk dealers that supply traffickers and funnel guns to the hands of criminals are finally held accountable. These bills are about one thing: saving lives. Because at the end of the day, we all want to come home to our families safe and sound. We all want a country where our children can grow up free from the threat of gun violence. This package brings all of us closer to that reality, and we need Congress to pass these bills to keep us safe.
Yes.
Thank you again, Representative Frost. We are honored to do this work with you.
Next up, I'm going to bring up Ms. Ware from Village of Love.
Good morning, good morning. My name is Tawana Ware, and I'm here on behalf of Village of Love. Village of Love was unfortunately birthed due to our president, Charlotte Char Davis, losing her son. And 4 months later, I lost my son. And so we figured what better way to, bring about an organization, because we know how each parent feels at that particular point in time when they're losing their child. As Commissioner Scott mentioned, Village of Love has just been, we've touched each one over the Christmas holiday. You get the information and you want to know exactly what is it that you can do. And the majority of the time what we do as Village of Love is we just come and we sit. We just listen. A lot of times those moms or those families that are going through at that particular point in time, they don't need words. They just need someone to sit there with them. And Village of Love is there to do that in any form, any fashion. It would actually be 3 years, the 28th, that I've lost my son. So I know what each parent is feeling at that particular point in time. We call it emotional menopause. 1 minute you're fantastic, you're smiling, you're happy, and in a brief second, you're about to fall completely apart. So Village of Love is there at any particular point in time, 2 o'clock in the morning, after you have your service and things of that nature, family goes away, people go away, but Village of Love is that one that we've committed ourselves to be there for each parent that has unfortunately been touched by gun violence. We try to be there, and again, like I said, we listen. We're now venturing out with other organizations, and we're proud to be with them, but unfortunately, we're not proud to be with them. We have our little saying that we didn't ask to be a part of this membership, but unfortunately, since we are, we have to do something. And I believe everyone within Village of Love, we're taking our pain and we're making it our purpose. Our purpose to touch those that, again, unfortunately have been touched by gun violence. We're working hard to be there, and I believe, like Miss Lady, she just said, we're not trying to be there for everyone, but everyone that we need to be there for, we're there for them. Village of Love is always open. Again, we said again, we didn't ask for this membership, but unfortunately, since we're here, we're pulling up our bootstraps. We've learned how to lift weights. We've learned how to get a little bit stronger each day, to be there for the next person, to be there for the next family. And that's Village of Love. We're trying our best. We'll allow congressmen to do that portion of it, but unfortunately, if you happen to slip through and you need a service of Village of Love, myself, the other ladies in the group, and other fathers, we're here to stand with you in any way possible that we can. And we see, as again, it takes a village, and we're Village of Love. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming today. I want to make sure I give opportunity. I don't know if, we have such great local elected officials here who understand that this isn't just a federal problem. This is a problem we have to fix in Washington, D.C., in Tallahassee, City Council, County Commission, our school. We're all working together on this. I just want to see if any of our other elected officials. Rashawn, you want to say a few words?
Good morning, and thank you, Congressman Frost, for this opportunity. Just got back off of the road from Tallahassee, where yesterday we debated a bill, as Ms. Angel said, that will reduce the age for purchasing a gun from the age of 21 to 18. I don't know about anybody in this room, but I am sick and tired of politicians having selective memory.
Yes.
Yep.
I am tired of amnesia
Yes.
from our elected officials who make drastic policy changes and decide to go back on their word.
Yes.
And no longer can we sit aside and sit on the sidelines and watch. It's time for all of us to get in the game,
Yes.
to be a part of the change. And that is why I applaud the congressman for the work he does. But he said something that is so extremely important. This takes collaboration from all of us on every level of government. This is not an issue that will be solved by one elected official, by one community, by one group of people, by one advocacy organization. It is going to take all of us getting in the game and deciding that we are going to be a part of the change. And while that bill passed on the floor, the Democrats who represent the people in Tallahassee stood flat-footed on the floor. We waved the bloodstained banner of those who have lost their lives, reminding our colleagues that this is not something that we must forget. And so that is why I am so honored to be the sponsor for the Yaya Act in Tallahassee, alongside Senator Chevron Jones, because we have to take the agency. This is a boulder. The congressman has made some very good points that mass shootings are only 1% of this greater issue. But my grandmother would always say that it takes if the best way to eat an elephant is bit by bit.
Yeah.
And so we are doing what is necessary to chisel away at this huge issue, this massive issue that is plaguing our communities, and reminding people that it is our time to take our agency and license back from our elected officials and to return to the streets to make sure that we take our communities back. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Angie?
Hi, good morning. I'm Angie Gallo. I'm a school board member here in Orange County. I want to say I was in Tallahassee in 2018 when the bill passed to raise the age limit to 21. I was with the kids with Parkland. I held vigils with the kids from Parkland. My daughter's best friend was in the Parkland shooting. I know personally what gun violence does to a family, and I saw the hurt and just the unbelievable trauma that these kids have gone through. So the fact that the legislature is now looking to raise the age limit is just unimaginable and horrible and hurtful. In Orange County Public Schools, we did create a resolution to support the gun age being at 21. So we do support that. I want to say personally that we spend a lot of money here in Florida on school safety, millions and millions of dollars that we have to put to harden our schools, to pay for SROs because of mass shootings. And we're spending that money because the legislature refuses to attack the root problem, and that is gun violence and common sense gun laws. If they would just fix the root problem, we as a state would not have to spend millions of dollars to ensure that our students and our schools are safe. And yet I have kids that come to school every day afraid of what might happen next. It's awful. It needs to stop, and we all need to pay attention. Thank you.
Thank you. John, would you like to say a few words? I know you just walked there.
So I know that we are all agree that we're against this horrible bill. I was in Tallahassee last night. It's so
Not
sad.
my bill. Not my
No,
bill.
no, you're good. From Tallahassee, the Tallahassee bill, trying to, decrease the age to have firearms. But thank you, Maxwell, Congressman Maxwell, to try to fix these horrible intentions from the state of Florida and the legislature. And it's extremely important that my Hispanic community also understand what we're saying here today in Spanish. Y es increíble ver la pesadilla que se está viviendo en la Florida, producto de proyectos de ley que quieren reducir la edad para tener armas de fuego. Y un joven de 18 años donde hemos visto tantos crímenes, tantos asesinatos en las escuelas, ¿verdad? Asesinatos masivos, donde han sido producto de jóvenes menores de 21 años. Así que te agradezco grandemente que tú estés comprometido con la causa de lo que estamos sufriendo aquí en el estado de la Florida, porque gracias a ti es que tenemos todavía la esperanza que hayan proyectos de ley que de verdad hagan cambios en todo lo que está relacionado a estas armas de fuego y que los jóvenes realmente no están preparados para obtener armas de fuego, y sabemos que hay muchos retos de salud mental. Así que muchas gracias por estar con nosotros en esta lucha, porque yo sé que esto va más allá de partidos políticos y tú estás ahí para ser nuestra voz. Así que thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Your Honor. Thank you. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Like I said, we know that these three bills won't completely end gun violence, but we know that behind every number, there's a human.
Yes.
There's a person.
Yes.
There's a family.
Yes.
And when we talk about one of the worst things in our country, the fact that the leading cause of death for a child is to be shot. We have parents burying their children
Yes.
right behind me
Yes.
in our community. When you lose a spouse, you become a widow. When you lose a parent, you become an orphan. But there is no word in the English language to describe when a parent has to bury their child, because it is so unnatural. That's the state of our nation. Let's pass these laws and let's end gun violence. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Well, we heard Representative Young talk about what the House passed yesterday. What's your take on that?
I think that the fact that the House of Representatives in Tallahassee, just a few years ago after the Parkland shooting happened, and those students went up there and said, end gun violence, do something about this. They passed a package, not a perfect package, but a package that did things like raise the age, put forth red flag laws in this state that have been used over 9,000 times to save lives. And just a few years later, because the politics are different within that party, they feel like it is time to scale back these life-saving measures. So I think it is disgusting what happened in Tallahassee. Anyone who voted yes on it, voted yes on more gun violence in our communities. And need I remind those Republicans, a lot of them were scared when this was going on. A lot of them were scared after Parkland happened and they were working on passing these bills. They said, if I vote yes on this, I won't come back. But guess what? Every Republican that voted yes on that Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School Safety Act got reelected. A Republican governor signed it into law. Because 90% of this country, including Republicans, Democrats, and NRA members, are for common sense gun reform. So don't let yourself be a person that's motivated by profits and not people. And that's why this bill got moved forward. We talk a lot about the NRA. I hate the NRA. But the NRA was created to be in front of the people that were really to blame here, which are the gun manufacturers. These corporations, these greedy billionaires who say, we don't want one common sense gun reform bill to be passed. Why? Because that's one less gun we're going to sell. So I think it's horrible what happened in Tallahassee. This is part of the reason we're pushing for federal standards. It should not be up to the states. It should not be up to local governments on whether or not a kid gets to die or not in the street. I'm sorry. The safety of this nation and our community, we have to have universal gun laws in this country that apply to everyone so we can be safe. Look no further than what happens in Illinois and in Chicago. Bring up Chicago all the time. Illinois has great gun laws. But do you know that the vast majority of the guns used in gun violence in Chicago come from neighboring states that have dreadful gun laws? That's why we need federal gun legislation. So that's what I would say to that.
You mentioned it while talking about safety, immigration enforcement. We know you posted yesterday on social media that ICE is active in the area. I wanted to know how you were able to confirm that they've made hotel reservations.
We work with local organizations, we work with local governments, elected officials, and we have a very strong network that has been working together over the last year to work at confirming information about what's going on in our community. And many of you have seen the videos of ICE agents going throughout our community in all parts of Central Florida. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure people are informed about what's going on so they can make the decisions that they need to make to keep their families safe. We see what's been going on around the country. We saw that horrible murder of Renee Nicole Good. ICE agent looked her in the face, looked her in the eyes, and shot her in the face. By the way, that was gun violence too. Gun violence done by the state. Gun violence done by our government. So we have a lot of work to do, because when we talk about gun violence, we mean all gun violence. And that includes what's going on with ICE around this country. And we know in Central Florida we won't stand for it. We stand together for our immigrants. We know that the reason many of our people are in poor economic conditions has nothing to do with an immigrant and everything to do with the fact that we have greedy people at the top who want to make their friends more money, who want to protect other billionaires and other big corporations who don't have our best interests at heart. And we've had enough of it. And we're going to stand up for our community no matter what's going on. We don't want that chaos. That chaos we're seeing online, we don't want that in Orlando. We want peace. We want to live our lives. That's why we posted that video, to make sure people are informed, and we'll continue to make sure people are informed on what's going on in Central Florida, not just with ICE, but with a lot of different things going on and a lot of the foolishness from this administration. Any other questions?
I have one more related to ICE.
Any other? Okay.
We're hearing rumors about a potential site visit here in Orlando at the Beachline Logistics Center on Transport Drive. I don't know if you've heard anything on that.
Yeah, we're working with partners to confirm more information on that. We've heard about the potential processing center being built in Central Florida. We know this is something that our people don't want. Our people can't afford groceries. Yes. Our people are walking in the streets. There's gunfire in our streets. Our people can't afford to send their kids to school. Healthcare is too damn expensive. So how about, instead of spending our money on building these internment camps in our communities to put our neighbors in, why don't you do something about the fact that 25 million Americans are going to have their health care go up anywhere from 50 to 300%? See, here's the issue. They're taking the money that's supposed to be used for health care, they're taking the money that's supposed to be using for housing, and they're giving it to ICE to build these detention centers, which in many cases are being built and operated by private corporations, who are then the donors of the same politicians that gave them the money. Sorry. And so this is the problem. This is the corruption. And when I talk with all different types of people, Democrats, Republicans, independents, people who quite frankly don't care, everyone's disgusted by it. So we as a community are against it. We want our taxpayer dollars used to help our community, not take our neighbors away that make this community what it is and make it the city beautiful. So I know we all stand alongside each other in that pursuit. None of us is free until all of us are free, and we'll continue to fight together on that.
So just to follow up on
Yeah.
that, Congressman, can you tell us what exactly your office or the Democratic leadership is doing to try to find out more about that location in Orange County?
We're working with local partners, organizations, advocacy organizations to get more information on this. Unfortunately, ICE and DHS has been operating in the shadows. This is part of the reason why a lot of times you have to physically pull up, and it's the reason why I've been twice to what they call Alligator Alcatraz, because I have constituents that are in there, and why we worked with local organizations that were suing the place to get it shut down temporarily, and now it's back open, and we'll be back there. So you'll see those kind of actions done here to make sure that we can hold them accountable, because we don't want these facilities in our community. But our office is also going to continue to do our constituent services, which has been flooded by the request of immigrant families here in Central Florida who need our help. My husband was taken. We don't know where he is. Can you help us locate him? My son was taken. We lost his wallet. We can't find his wallet. We need his wallet. It has his information. Can you help us get it? Then our team works with local officials to get them information, in many cases to get them personal items. I've done personally multiple roundtables with detained immigrants at 33rd at our jail here locally to get information and give it back to the families. So we're going to continue to do that work person by person while advocating at the federal level. Let me end by saying this, and we want to tie it back to gun violence, but a lot of this is all connected. Next week when I go back to D.C., we'll be taking up most likely a funding bill on DHS. And people in Central Florida should know that I am voting no on that bill because I don't believe in funding an agency that's then in turn going to come into my community to harm my people and the people I represent. Especially when just last year, through the big ugly bill that Donald Trump signed into law, they gave ICE more money than the Marines have. More money than the United States Marines ICE has right now. We don't have to look far to see that fact that our government has the priorities completely out of whack and completely messed up. And this isn't the first time in human history we've seen a rich person like Donald Trump have both all the money in the world, but then also need all the political power in the world, and then try to scare our people and working class people into thinking that the reason you can't afford your rent, the reason you can't afford your health care has to do with your neighbor that's an immigrant. We know that's a lie. We got to stop looking around at who to blame and start looking up at these guys. Because while we're blaming each other, they're in our taxpayer banks and in our pockets taking our money and then using it to cause chaos in our communities. We're not for that. And these three bills that I've introduced take a big step forward to make sure that we actually do something about gun violence in this country. Let me tell you that the bills passed 3 years ago, signed into law by Democrats, helped bring gun violence down. So whenever you talk with somebody who's in Tallahassee, who's in Washington, D.C., and they claim to be a crime fighter, claim to be for public safety, ask them, what bills have you put forward that actually make our community safer? Ones that have actually been implemented and that we actually saw worked. Because I got three right here. I have three right here. And not just that, but it has been Democrats in Congress and across the entire country that have put forth bills that actually make our community safer and that actually work. It's not just about talking tough. It's about smart bills that pinpoint crime, pinpoint gun violence, and works at ending them. And that's what these three bills are about. So I'm very excited to be reintroducing these to keep our community safe, because I believe no matter where you live, whether you're in Parkland or Pine Hills, your life means the same. And it matters. And that's why we're introducing these bills. It's about mass shootings, but it's also, again, about the greatest mass shooting that we have, which is the collection of daily gun violence that happens in many instances in our black and brown communities, like right here in Pine Hills, that never gets spoken about. These are bills that will help end that gun violence as well. So God bless you all. Thank you to all of our partners for being here. And have a good day. Thank you.